Sound off with me, folks, on a Geno night at TD Garden. And it just so happened to come on the second night of a back-to-back. That's right, the Boston Celtics took it to the Memphis Grizzlies tonight at TD Garden with a final score of 131-95. This was an unbelievable team win from top to bottom. Everyone who checked into the game played well. It was a great thing to see from the Boston Celtics, and most importantly, most noteworthy is that this came on the second night of a back-to-back. The Celtics just lost in the final game of a three-game road trip last night down in Philadelphia. They had to fly back to Boston and then play this game tonight. Not only did they play it, but they played it at a wildly high level. And I just have to say this. It doesn't matter who you're playing or who you're not playing. If you're playing on the second night of a back-to-back and you're able to take it to another NBA team and just completely dominate the game from start to finish on the second night of a back-to-back, it says a lot about the character of your team. So while a lot of people will talk about the fact that Memphis did not have Ja Morant during tonight's game, it didn't have multiple other players playing in this game, I want to talk about the fact that that doesn't matter. What matters is the Celtics came out and they played one of the best games of their season at both ends of the court. Finally, the shooting caught up to everything else because the Celtics have been playing solid basketball in every aspect except shooting the ball. Well, tonight, the shooting caught up to everything else, and the Boston Celtics wind up shooting, what was it in this game? 51% from the field, 41% from three-point range. When you couple that together with everything else that they've been doing, the small things, the important things, the details, you're going to put together a pretty strong game, and that's exactly what we saw from the Boston Celtics. So the shooting catches up to everything else, and that leads to a season-high total in assists. That's right, 34 assists for the Boston Celtics during this game. That is a season high. 3 more than their previous season high of 31. And this was a team effort in this category. Payton Pritchard, 9 assists. Jaylen Brown, 6 assists. Anthony Simons, 7 assists. We've got a couple guys with 4 assists. This was just a great all-around performance. The ball was popping, had really good energy behind the ball. And you know what? I just want to go back to the beginning of the game. You could tell that the Celtics had a really good juice and rhythm behind them. Like it felt like when they took the court, they felt good about themselves. And they should. Like, they've been playing strong basketball. They know all we had to do was start making shots, and we're going to win a lot of games. And they started making shots tonight. The ball, like I said, it just had really good energy behind it. It seemed like everyone was trusting in one another from top to bottom, no matter who was on the floor. And that translated through to just a really strong all-around team performance during this game. So 34 assists, a season high. Let's see if the Celtics can catch up to that anytime soon in their next handful of games. Another thing that I've got to point out is that Payton Pritchard is back. I already mentioned in this podcast that he had 9 assists to lead the game during this contest, but he also scored 24 points on 8 for 15 shooting, 5 for 10 from distance. He had a stretch where he just completely took over this game. This is the Payton Pritchard we've all become used to seeing. And it's the Payton Pritchard we haven't seen a lot of so far this year as he has adjusted to this starting role for the Boston Celtics. Listen, there were too many people calling for Payton Pritchard's head early on in this season. We're 3 weeks in. I personally have heard way too many people saying, oh, he's not good enough. He can't start. He's got to come off the bench. He doesn't have what it takes to play against the other team's best players. He does. We've known this for years. He just had a rough couple weeks shooting the basketball. But now he's finding his rhythm. There is no question about that. I wouldn't even say finding his rhythm. I would say he's got his rhythm. And you look at some of these clips that are playing right now, like he took over this game by scoring inside, by scoring outside, by finding teammates for assists. As I said, a huge contributor to that season-high 34 assists. He had 9 of them. That's over a quarter of the assists on the team in their season high. And get this number. Get this number. Plus 42 in the plus-minus category. That's right. The Boston Celtics outscored the Memphis Grizzlies by 42 points while he was on the court for his 30-plus minutes of action. If that don't scream impact, I don't know what does. He was awesome tonight. I'll go through the numbers one more time. 24 points, game-high 9 assists, 6 rebounds, 8 for 15 from the field, 5 for 10 from long range, 3 for 4 from the free throw line. Probably the most complete game we have seen from Payton Pritchard so far this season. Just a really top-notch performance from him, starting to show all of those doubters, you shouldn't doubt me. You've seen too much of me to doubt me. No one out there should be doubting this guy. He's going to have more games like this than he has had not succeeding early on in the season. I guarantee you that as this season continues on. So Payton Pritchard plays well. The Celtics dish out 34 assists. And within that, Luka Garza had a really strong game coming off the bench. You love to see every time this guy gets in and gets a solid amount of playing time, it seems like he really makes an impact. Tonight, he played only 17 minutes, but somehow during those 17 minutes, he totaled 14 points and 7 rebounds. I was talking to one of my friends during the game, and he was just saying to me, like, Luka Garza is not ultra athletic, and I think we could all admit that. I think he would admit that. It's not about his athleticism. It's about his physicality. It's about how hard he plays, and it's about his skill. He is a very skilled player. We've seen the push shot from him recently. We've seen three-point shots from him recently. In fact, he hit 2 of them tonight on 3 attempts. We've seen the rebounding, the timing, the basketball IQ of setting screens, being in the right place at the right time. And he's popping with games like this of nearing double-doubles. Tonight, 14 points and 7 rebounds. Also dished out 1 assist, efficient from the field, 6 of 8, 2 of 3 from long range. So we're seeing more and more of these performances from Luka Garza where he's making a significant impact for the team while he is on the court. Again, he only needed 17 minutes to log those numbers tonight of 14 points and 7 assists. Another great game from him, and just continues to show that he has these different types of shots in his offensive repertoire. I don't think all of us really knew a whole lot about that before he came here to Boston. He hasn't played a lot in the NBA. And I'm pretty certain not a lot of Bostonians, New Englanders, and Celtics fans watched Iowa back in the day. So we're learning about Luka Garza in real time, and he is showing us that maybe his offensive bag is a little bit deeper than all of us thought when he got here. All right, let's dive into a couple comments from our fans. First up, we got Next, who comments on the Celtics' inconsistencies so far this season. And then Brian on why he loves games like we saw tonight. And it might not be as obvious as everyone thinks. All right, let's dive into it here. First up is We Got Next. All right, We Got Next is up first, and their comment is, bad night, good night, bad night, good night, get used to it. All right, this is basically a comment about Boston's inconsistencies so far this season. And I think we can all agree that there have been inconsistencies. Like tonight, they shot the lights out. Last night, they couldn't really make a shot. Down in Orlando, they had a game where they really struggled to put the ball through the basket. Some nights, the defense is really good. Some nights, it's kind of mediocre. So there have been inconsistencies. However, if we can kind of zoom out and take a 10,000-foot view of this team, and if you forget about what you've watched and we just look at the results, that might give you a little bit of a different opinion on this, and that maybe the Celtics are a little bit more consistent than maybe our eyes are telling us. The Celtics are now 6-4 in their last 10 games. 2 of those losses are one-possession losses. So they are, let's say, 5 points. I mean, I'll do the math right now. Yeah, 6 points away from being 8-2 in the last 10. And I know a lot of people out there might get upset about this. You know, there's no, we can't just take moral victories here in Celtics Nation. And I'm not saying that they should. What I'm saying is that maybe this team is playing a little bit better and more consistently than our eyes are telling us from what we see on the court every night. Maybe they're more consistent than that. And the results are kind of telling us they are 6-4 in their last 10, and they're only a few possessions away from being 8-2 in their last 10. And I think both of those numbers are pretty strong. If the Celtics win 6 out of 10 games on that pace for the rest of the season, it's a pretty darn good clip. Like, they're going to wind up with upper 40s wins, maybe into the 50s wins. So maybe this team is actually a little bit more consistent than we all think. And maybe Joe Mazzulla has kind of hinted at that. Like, he has liked what he has seen. And truth be told, as I've told you on Sound Off throughout this season so far, like, I've actually liked what I've seen out of the Boston Celtics. There's just that big thing that hasn't happened. Well, two big things. Number one is learning how to finish off close games, learning how to win those close games. And number two is just inconsistency of shooting the ball and making shots at a high clip. That, I can tell you, I totally agree with you. Good night, bad night, good night, bad night. That is true with shooting the basketball. Everything else, I actually think has been pretty consistent. So it's great to see the effort night in and night out. It's great to see the care level and the care factor is high for this team. And now the team's just got to get a little bit more consistent offensively, and then maybe they will grab a few more wins than what we've seen here recently. But again, 6-4 in their last 10, only a few possessions away from being 8-2 in their last 10. Both of those numbers are pretty darn good. All right, final comment of the night coming in from Brian, who says, I love games like this. The rotation is expanded. You get the players that are trying to get more minutes by playing well. The top of the rotation can rest up before the days off, which the Celtics have the next 3 days off, no games. Boucher gets time. Ron Harper Jr. gets NBA minutes. Baylor gets minutes. Baylor Shireman, that is. Almost everyone gets time. And really, everyone did get time in this game. Everyone checked in with the exception of Xavier Tillman. And every player, with the exception of Hugo Gonzalez, scored during this game. By the way, Hugo Gonzalez is coming off a sprain. He was questionable to play in this game. He wound up playing, but I digress. All the rest of the players scored in this game. So you saw Baylor Shireman hit a couple threes. Chris Boucher hit a couple of threes. Really, Josh Minot came off the bench and played well during his 22 minutes. He finished with 9 points and 5 rebounds and 4 assists during this game, a block shot. He played really well. So really, top to bottom on the roster, everyone got an opportunity, number one. And number two, everyone capitalized on that opportunity. So it's really great to see that this just continues. Joe Mazzulla told us at the start of this season that there might not be a rotation, quote unquote, where you know who's going to play, how they're going to play in terms of how many minutes, do they start, do they come off the bench. There might not be a true rotation on this team this season. I think we're starting to understand why. Everyone kind of brings a little bit something different. Outside of those guys who we know they're going to play, Derek White, Payton Pritchard, Neemias Queta, Jaylen Brown, Sam Hauser, outside of that group, like, everyone brings a little something different to the table. And some of those things might apply and help the Celtics on one night, and some of those things might apply and help the Celtics on a different night, and therefore you might get a different mix of players. But we're seeing that, like, literally everyone on this roster can make contributions and be a part of a winning process. And so now we just have to wait for everything to click with the offense, and then that winning process is going to happen much more consistently. So, Brian, I totally agree. I love games like this where you get to see what everyone on the roster can bring to the table, and everyone can play with no pressure on their shoulders and no one breathing down their neck to potentially take them out of the game if they make a mistake. Just play free. And when you play free and you play well, maybe that starts to snowball and you play free and play well even when that pressure does exist, but you don't think about it. So a great confidence builder for the Celtics, a great confidence builder for every player who checked into this game tonight. And now the Celtics have an opportunity to grab another win after a few days off. They'll be back on the TD Garden floor on Sunday afternoon. It is a matinee game. They will play host to Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, and the Los Angeles Clippers. So the Celtics on that game will have an opportunity to even out their record on the season to 7-7, and then who knows where they might go after that. So thanks for giving us a listen tonight on Sound Off. Make sure you send in your comments after the final buzzer on Sunday. I'll take a couple of them right here again for another episode Sunday afternoon. Until then, enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you Sunday night.